Well, I just wanted to give everybody an opportunity to get kind of settled and whatever, and I just came through, but like, there might have been a big train on, Harmony and Linwood, because it took me 3 different changes of the signal light to be able to pass through, and that's quite a bit, so. Hopefully they're looking at the transportation system plan that we're.
Yeah, I remember that, we had a solution.
Solutions, but long term, right?
Mark, are you hearing
Oh,
us
yeah.
okay?
Railroad nails.
Good, so we have Mark joining us by Zoom. Mark's the only one on Zoom, I take it at this point, so everybody else here, we have a quorum. So let's just dive right in. We have.
You're not gonna use the gavel? No.
Use the gavel, come on.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna let.
Oh, got one.
Just point.
Yes, we're gonna call the meeting to order. Ben.
Oh, that is in the report.
You guys are great. The first item is minutes approval from January 12th. I have one correction. I believe it should be a correction. At the bottom of page 1, it talks about how there was a joint meeting with the BCC, new officers elected with the DAC and all of that kind of thing. And then on page 2, it says they discussed the plans for the Wichita Center, blah, blah, blah. And then it says the city of Milwaukie is using it for public services. It is not the city of Milwaukee.
Oh.
It's the county and the education, well, it's really
Oh, it's the education.
the school, yeah, the North Clackamas School District is using it. But they're working with a variety of social service organizations to provide like food and pantry stuff and clothing and job help and all of that kind of thing. But the city of Milwaukee has nothing to do with the Wichita Center.
So it's more North Clackamas School District
No,
and the county.
Yes. I would think that the county's probably involved, but I don't know that for sure.
Thought that because it was mentioned that the mayor had gotten upset, the mayor of Milwaukee.
And the mayor, right, the mayor did, yes, she, which, and it's interesting that everybody thinks, or many people think that center is actually in the city of Milwaukee because on all sides of it, it is the city of Milwaukee. But the Wichita Center is a county owned or, now county it's NCPRD owned building. It is not in the city of Milwaukee, but doesn't mean it couldn't be annexed at some time. So, but anyhow, there is that. So if we could make that one correction. Are there any other corrections, additions, deletions, whatever? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to accept the minutes as amended. Thank you. Second. Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of accepting the minutes with the change, signify by saying yes. Okay, cool, thank you. Project discussion. Anything new going on with Connections Magazine? Anything we want to know? Anything we want to do? How can we help? I guess that would be the two of you down there with the magazine.
So we are on, we do have the new format coming out with the more pages and more copies.
Oh, cool.
So the biggest part is distribution. Right now, that's the biggest part is having you guys and our board and find a lot of distribution. Because the last thing we want to do is have boxes of them sitting there. I think that there's still a box or two of the January, February sitting behind the front desk that haven't gone out.
Well, there aren't any at the letting library, and I thought somebody was taking them there.
I dropped some off, so when I dropped off the My Little Valentine's Day postcards and the Lunar New Year ones.
Recently.
Yeah, that would probably have been 2 weeks ago.
I was there.
So they may have gone.
Yeah.
So we may need to increase how many we're dropping off.
Yeah, we're dropping off, and I think that's
Good.
that's probably the case with most of our, especially as we're increasing this number, that we probably need to leave more.
Come back.
Right, we're come back, but there's just not a problem with leaving more, especially, like I said, we're doubling. you know.
So
it's-
do places like Rose Villa and Willamette View have copies that can just be handed out there? I mean, you know, I realize that's once again marketing to the aging population, but why not? A lot of our programs are based around
We
that.
do have,
So,
are those people on our distribution list? Okay,
Okay,
so yes.
okay, so places like that, you know, that and places. Okay.
Yes, but again, going back to your favorite coffee shop or whatever else too.
I've made it to, I think, 2 of them. I've dropped some off there. I still have like another 4 or 5 on my list. I had a whole thing in my head, and then we had all that week and a half of ice. So I forgot about it, and I found that connection, so I went,
Through a wrench it works, didn't it?
yeah.
Yes.
I did one different one each day.
You should always report to, if like, let's say we go to Starbucks and they're like, no, sorry, it's only magnetic board. And should we like report that to somebody just so you guys know, so you don't put it on a list and like waste someone's time to drop something off? Is there like somebody who's coordinating the distribution list? Yes. Okay,
You,
would
right?
that be you? Okay, perfect. I'll just share those little things because then that way it doesn't like.
Valuable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
duplicate efforts, yeah.
I don't think we got better luck.
Ben has a comment.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
We know when the next issue is coming out.
March 1st.
Yeah, that's when we get it.
Well, it should be hopefully just before that.
Before that,
Yeah,
right, just
so-
before that, so it's for March, April.
I know, I just don't know for.
We don't know exactly, but we aim for like, say, the 25th of February about.
Yeah, I'm thinking, like, when do I need it? Like, I still have some January, February ones.
So time to switch
Just
them out.
start Giving,
Time to switch them out,
you know,
yeah.
wanna know when, you know, like, if we did a week long, the week, I just wanna know what the time frame was for getting them out. The schedule was live March 1st, you
Right.
read ahead.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we should have them, the week before that.
Okay.
It just kind of depends on, you know, we, especially this one, we've had to add a lot of pages and there's a lot of new things going into it that they're having to complete. It's quite a process, so, but now that we've got this new format built in, it's gonna make that a lot easier. This first round there's a lot of new stuff going in, so.
It's fun to see and interesting.
And I wanna reiterate as well that there is advertising available in the connections. If you or someone you know would like to place, you know, put your information into it, we have that available. We only ask is that you commit to 6 issues. That would be 1 year. So that the production time doesn't, I mean, it's quite an undertaking to make sure that we get all that taken care of.
Joel,
Is there a, like either in the magazine itself, or is this just like a word of mouth, hey, Palma Center to find out information on that? How do we promote that?
Say that again.
How do we promote the opportunity to advertise or just?
So this first issue, there's going to
Okay,
be
yeah.
actual advertising for advertising.
Which would be a great selling point to say, hey, check out.
Right,
magazines
exactly.
Where you can be, okay, good.
Yes, and so that's gonna be pretty exciting. So there's gonna be a way for them to go, oh, I wanna do this and how to reach out and exactly what it buys them and the whole thing.
okay.
So back on the coffee shop idea, which we have to be is as we go around, we find these things. I wouldn't be a bit surprised that we find, you know, at Starbucks, for example, and have a corporate directive on what they can and cannot have in patients versus the small independents. So sometimes focusing on the smaller independent is going to be a lot more advantageous in many cases. So I think as we find those things out, those are important to share too. Quite frankly, we're probably going to run into a lot of that.
A manager has to approve it at Starbucks and they don't have a magnetic board, they won't take any.
Yeah, they probably won't. They don't have everybody looking for pamphlets and dropping out. So
Rebecca,
Hillside Manor, should be getting them. And my mother lives there, she doesn't get it until I bring it to her, so,
Hillside.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
yeah,
Especially
there's like
if
100 units there and,
it's a county facility of all things too,
Yeah.
so that's perfect for
Yeah.
the demographic.
and it's just right over.
Right.
And then, another thing is I just started helping the group that's, setting up the first Fridays in Milwaukee. And so I know we've talked in the past about possibly having a booth or something else, but if we were to do that, I'd be willing to do that every once in a while. But that would be a great place to have those out and available, so.
Be perfect, yeah.
Yeah,
And farmer's market, because I
Yeah.
know City of Milwaukee's there.
yeah.
Excellent.
Oh, and I guess the other thing would be, when she's got the advertising information to if you go to the North Clackamas Chamber, I mean, that's a great place to get that information out, to get advertised, so.
Yeah, if somebody had the opportunity to go to the Friday morning AM business connections of the chamber. You know, if you, I forget what their guidelines are now, it used to be that if you. Brought a door prize, then you get a couple of minutes or a minute or something to talk about, you know, your business, but in this case, if we could have somebody. Do that, do you go to those, Rebecca? Do you know what their system is? and
I
everything?
don't think
Yeah.
the Westlands.
I remember I go occasionally.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna start
It's
going
hosted
consistently for
sometimes.
Yeah.
sponsorship, so.
Well,
if
yeah,
you
they're
wanna
always
tag me,
yes.
we can,
That's
And-
very
I've
awesome.
been here several
Yeah, and
times.
Jay is the new executive director there, and he's great to work with, so.
Yeah,
We meet here about
That's what I'm
twice a
saying.
year.
Yeah, well, actually, we did once, we did in January, and it looks like we're trying to do again in March or April, like.
What's the time, guys?
oh, to host an AM here, good.
Yes.
Good. Great. I like it when it's actually. It's not dark. So, great, those are really great ideas, thank you guys, appreciate the input on all that. Next on the agenda is the update on the mural. Marty, I'm gonna turn that over to you.
So, we received a sample of, I don't know, 4 choices, from our artist, on choices for the mural. And, Will and I discussed them and decided that we didn't feel that they were meeting what we were expecting or what we wanted. So, we wrote the artist back in a very nicely and, explained that to him and explained more what we were after. So what he had is he had a template, which was like a dogwood tree and a goose, and then he had a, some ballerina legs, and then he had a person, he had like different people, but only one. So on one of his choices, there was a older gentleman playing a musical instrument, and there's a older couple dancing on another one, and one had a younger Hispanic young girl in costume. So what our reply back was what we were looking for, and I think this is what we kind of talked about. What we wanted was a display of different people doing different things. 4 or 5 different people doing of different ages and different ethnicities doing different activities they might do here. So we put that back to him, and we're waiting to see what his next design concept is.
And he accepted that email and the thoughts that we had quite nicely, I thought.
Yes,
But of course, now we still need to see the proof of the pudding, if you will.
yes.
But as far as the actual artwork is concerned, even though the subject matter wasn't what we had in mind, the,
So what he had done is he had like copy and pasted images from our photographs that we have, the NCPRD catalog, so to speak. And so then that's a good question. So we also asked, or I also asked in the email, what style are you using? He said he was doing it mostly realistic.
oh,
So the style is gonna be a realistic style. But the design, we didn't think was what we were after, so we're back to the drawing board, so to speak. But it's good, the process is started and it is moving. And, Will and I feel like we're representing the board as far as what we're after, so.
Does that delay scheduling at all as far as this?
I don't think so, because originally he said he'd give us a couple of different options and.
Yeah, it seems to be moving a little
So
slow.
This is the first one.
Maybe moving a little slow, we expected something probably,
Yeah.
if we would have jumped on it, the first one, we would probably be around
Right.
scheduled by wanting changes, and probably backed it out a little bit.
Yeah, they, wasn't it The initial was maybe working on it in the fall, get final approval and have it, you know.
Yeah, initially it was October and then it switched to February, yeah, it is February, probably now March or April. But it's fine, it's coming, so, that's the main.
At least it appears that it is.
Yeah.
It was neat to see the concept on our building though, so I did enjoy that.
Yeah,
It looks pretty cool. Yeah.
good. Thank you for that report. Appreciate it. We'll obviously, keep everybody updated. So do we have any update on the web?
I do, I can give an update on that as well.
All right, great.
Sarah, feel free to
I wasn't sure.
jump in if you haven't. So we actually had a meeting this past Monday, Melina and different staff to go over some concepts of what we were after. As far as, how we wanted to look and how we wanted to operate. And we're in the process of getting a developer, in place and under contract. So, it's a,
The RFP,
the RFP,
yeah, it's gone out, yes.
Yeah, I think the important thing that I would just add to that, and I know Mark, is that, like, there's funds to do this. It's not just a
yes,
crazy idea that we're gonna then figure out how to.
there's funds and it has begun and the process has started, so.
It's important.
That's really good. So if anybody does have any input or anything they want to see or any ideas, you can share that with me and I'll share that with Melina, either now or at any point. You're like, I saw this and I really like this. We're happy to take that input and forward it on.
I think what we're focusing on right now is there's a lot of ways people want to look at information, so they might look at facilities for rental information, but then they also might not go under facilities to look for a basketball program, so they might want to go under sports. If we're trying to duplicate information, so if you went to one spot, you would still find it in a different spot, because we all think differently, and so that's one thing that they're focusing on. So she's starting out with a concept of just the different information. We've looked at a lot of other park districts, see how they lay out the information, and we're kind of like not reinventing the wheel. One thing too to note is that the website will be able to be converted to whatever language that you're looking for. So I think there's like I think there's over, I want to say 48 different, like something like that. It's like
I already
if you
thought 3
convert-
or 4, but.
No, if you convert it into so what you're looking for, so you just go up to the top and you'll be able to click on the language converter and it converts everything. So that's
Awesome. Okay, all right, good. Thank you. Thanks for that. The next area is a goal discussion, and first of all, I just want to quickly mention that this coming Monday at 2 p.m. I have a meeting with recreation staff. I think Tina
and me too. I think just
Good.
yeah.
Okay. Then we're going to talk about like the kinds of things that are available for all ages and how to, like maybe get more puzzles and games and whatever in or whatever, or what are the needs, how does that fit? And how does that fit to the goals that we as a board had discussed some time ago? And additionally, hopefully the weather will be nicer. We're gonna take the hike up to the back of Rouse School. Paul's gonna go with us that morning, so there'll be 2 of us, because I think, you may have different perspectives on things and different brainstorming ideas to bring up. So if there's anybody else that just has a real yen to go on that hike or to sit down in a discussion with us at 2 o'clock, you're certainly welcome to do that. So we'll start off here. We'll meet you guys here, right? Yeah. So we have that on the agenda. And I was wondering, since I frequently hear about rentals and, having space to rent and what does that mean and whatever, and when we had our goal setting session that Marilyn led us in a year ago, we talked quite a bit about that. And I wondered if there's any benefit in just a quick, 6-minute brainstorming about rentals and what we might do. How can we help this facility people in getting the word out, or in what kinds of uses have we thought about this, that, the other thing, whatever. So I'm inviting brainstorming, and if we can just make sure we keep track of any good ideas that come out of that, or just ideas in general, because brainstorming doesn't have to have all the answers. It's just, have we thought, whatever, so any thoughts on that? Ben, Paul,
Did we have discussion about, I mean, since we're adding more space, actually having more rental inside?
It should be in there.
Or, well, I mean, we can certainly, now that we have more space.
Can we
we
make-
can probably
Right, I mean, that job, probably do a better job.
so that's a good
because
thing,
it's-
ensure that it's in the connections, and I don't think we.
Or expand what's in the connection.
Expand with, yeah. Joel, you have a comment?
Kind of dovetails into the website redesign, but that should be a really important component, I think, of it,
Yes.
as a revenue generator. I know the sports links currently for our website look terrific. Which is good, because that's how people are trying to participate. It should be like that for right in. As far as promoting, I mean, groups are gonna go to a website to check out the photographs and space and everything, so that should be our like.
And we do have, me coming to, this spring, coming to some events and taking some updated pictures, so we have better
Good.
photos, because sometimes people that. Oftentimes, when, especially for a wedding or something, if they rent this out, they decorate it really nice.
Yeah.
It looks much different than it looks when we're now.
Rebecca.
I just know, like in Westlands. Everybody's on the local Facebook community page, always asking, where can I hold an event for this? Where can I hold an event
I
for
see
that?
that.
I know that the Facebook page for this is kind of limited, but maybe that's something that the foundation's Facebook page could help get that information out and then share it to the local, the social media pages.
Well,
because,
yeah.
Maybe we
I
need to
would
have
agree
a
with that.
tab on there that says rental information. So when they go
Yeah.
to their website, do they have that?
Yeah.
On our website, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, but to even get to the website, people have to know about it, so that's why I'm saying,
Yeah.
putting it on Instagram and Facebook and things like that.
I know I shared on the Milwaukee Chit Chat, because that's a common.
Exactly, yes, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, there are 2 or 3 sites like that. I mean, I see things all the time that says, hey, we're having a birthday party for my grandma,
Yes.
where can I fit for 50 people or whatever? And so I always think Milwaukie Community Center, but I don't always give them the link to the website, so I'll try to be more conscious of that. So if those of us in the room, if we're doing social media and we see things like that, we can respond. I mean, even if somebody, jumps back and says, or even on Nextdoor or things like that, there are all those kind of requests that people seem to post. So that's one, sounds like a really good inclusive way to get the word out. Other kinds of things we haven't thought about, Stan.
Increasing, I mean, we can also, I don't think that there's a link to the rental from the foundation website. But it's already built into NCPRD, there's no reason that we shouldn't be linking that over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and if somebody just, I mean, I think I know the answer to this, but let me figure out how to say this. If somebody, let's say I'm hosting a wedding reception for a granddaughter, and I think 100 people are gonna be there, is there a place where all the county venues would come up? I mean, if I were Googling it, and would Milwaukie Community Center come up in that search?
Not county owned
Not
venues,
county.
yeah.
Okay, but it is, I mean, it's managed by the county, so.
No, I know, but you mean like a space where there, because I was just thinking, Google is kind of that, Google and whatever,
Yeah,
event space near me, and hopefully
Yeah.
you pop up.
yeah, that's what,
Abernathy and whatever else.
right, yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking.
So there's some search engine optimization you can do to make sure that you do pop up.
Get the right word.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
They keep changing that, so.
yeah.
And you can also have sponsored ads too, I mean, so if there's money to put out there.
Mhm.
So,
And one thing we are doing, I think, is the billboards.
That was gonna be in my report.
I know, I'm not saying
Nice to say that.
Okay, well, speaking of that, so our 7 minutes are about up, but thank you for that. That was helpful, and it keeps us all aware of what the needs are.
I just have to interject, as the rental staff person that manages those rentals. I continually hear from people that are wanting to rent. It's the aesthetics of the building
Oh,
that are not as enticing to them. So put that in the back of your mind and think, where are those funds gonna come from to, aesthetically, pump that up so people want to come. I mean, I had a young girl just this last week want to do her high school graduation party. And it's a large venue. I mean, they want the south wing, but after she walked through it, she's like, I don't think so. And I said, well, talk to me, tell me what you're thinking. And she said, just aesthetically, she said, I don't want to have it at a senior center. And I said, we are a community center and we're doing a lot to try and embrace the community.
yeah.
And she says, really, it's just the look and the feel from the time you come through the door.
Good
She's
point.
laying it out there for you.
Maybe if the walls were painted bright colors and like the interior mural, like Marilyn had talked about, we had things like that and it would just pop. Maybe that
It
changes.
has to be current.
Yeah.
And this is not current.
It's not,
Well, they
yeah.
want a real venue look and feel for
Well,
their money.
and when you walk in here, you want to feel that it's active, that there's stuff going on and that there's some excitement with the place. It doesn't have that, it's missing that.
We're all about it's expensive.
I know. They may come back after they go and tour some other, venues and see what the prices are. Our prices can't be beat. That's why.
That's a horrible selling point, like.
Right, but
Right?
do you
Get what you pay
Right.
for.
Yeah, interesting, yeah.
Budget friendly.
Yeah, we.
I'm just like, I'm still here.
Yeah. Something into the budget is like right now, right? Because, so how can there be something built into the budget where you can say that?
You want your
To
ball
make
to
us
see
all pretty.
I know
Yeah.
that paint isn't, whether you buy sage green or whether you buy shocking pink, paint is the same. We need some pizzazz around here. We need to have colors that speak.
Yes.
Remember, I don't know if you guys remember, but I brought a bunch of pictures of other community centers and what they've done. And like in one of them, which sticks out in my mind, down the main hallway, there was this big swirl of stuff that went down and it was action, it was moving, it wasn't moving, but it made you feel, it was like a spring that was unwound and it went right down the hallway and you walk in and it's like, wow, this is cool. And all of a sudden it makes you feel, that there's something going on here.
Energy.
It's not just tired.
Energy, that's a really good point. Yeah.
So we really need color, not to go crazy, but we need color and we need things that show that it's alive here.
Yeah.
And that even when kids come in, it's like, whoa, that's cool, That's the kind of thing we want to feel here. We don't feel that. It feels old.
Institution.
Yeah.
Institutional, good term also.
And even with the stuff that went on in the lobby, it's not there. It's still tired. It's still conservative. It's still, let's take a chance and step out of the mold and do something that really matters, that really changes the place.
We have our own paint party from county, right?
But yeah. Start throwing stuff on the wall and splattering it,
There you
and
go.
make it fun.
Yeah.
Do you still have those pictures?
Yeah.
Must-
I know
Yeah,
the
that's
rest of
what I'm
sometimes
saying.
colors
I
are
don't recall them, but I'd love to see them.
It has to be a vibe around here. This is way too sedate.
You just need a paintball party in the hallway.
I think so too. Bring all the old paint that you haven't used yet. We'll just,
No, all I have is white. We don't want.
No.
I've got a peach. I think we have one, a can of peach from an accent wall.
Can we put red in it and make it, there you go. Thank you. That's the kind of discussions we need to be having so that we can go on to then the next step. So we're gonna look at Marilyn's pictures again. Am I understanding that right? We're gonna have access to them again. That would be great.
I know Rochelle had dreams of raising the ceiling and
The Trillium.
Trillium room.
Trillium.
That lower ceiling above front of the stage, you can raise that up.
We're getting rid of the
Getting
Yeah,
ready
getting
to
the
drop
the
it.
drop ceiling,
Right.
make it more modern.
Getting some kind of statement fixture in the middle there.
Yeah,
Not a
leave it.
chandelier, but some other.
Yeah.
Something about that, Grant. Oh, it would come to her, you could look at this, can you picture that? I could, but that was months ago. Now I can't remember what word you used for it. The medallion or something?
No, it was like a chandelier, but not, like crystals, when you
Right,
go to
different type of
a
chandelier.
big venue or events, I guess they always have that large, light fixture
Right.
in the center. That's kind of the sense of the town and,
But let's make it modern.
yeah.
Yes.
We don't want the
Yes.
old crystal
No.
chandelier.
Something that can last for a number of
Yeah.
years. Okay, cool, all right. On to reports and Stan, you're up.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We got a lot of stuff going on. We are gearing up for March for Meals, which is all the month of March, obviously, and so that's a big fundraiser. We're also getting ready for the tickets for the Housing and Senior Services Fair, which is on March 28th, just went on sale. We have 48 paid spots, plus I've got 3 more that we complimentary. Of course, we have our social services represented. I think there's a county person that comes down that also gets represented. There's a couple that we give away. But we already have 11 of those 48 sold, and they've only been on sale for 3 days. So, and that's happening really quickly. We did it this year. We did it on through Afton Tickets rather than having to manually try to have people call and send in their information and try to take their payments. Afton Tickets has got some fees, but we've just adjusted our rates so that if you get in early, you can get a lower rate and have to pay less. If you wait a little while, you're gonna have to pay a little more. And if you're a late comer, you're gonna have to pay more. So.
Before you go too fast,
Yeah.
March for Meals, if we try to get people to get involved in that are business owners. We're not doing the coffee can collecting money, I'm assuming, is there?
No, I'm putting out some, basically, QR code. They're just gonna be postcards with QR codes.
Okay,
I was hoping to connect with some other places that would like the new seasons that's coming in. And actually, I'm trying to reconnect with the Bob's Red Mill and see if I can, if they're not gonna give us money, let's let them, we can be a place where we can at least use them for collection of donations.
so the reason I'm asking is that, like, for example, at the next DAC meeting, we can promote this and say, if you're a whatever, contact.
Right, and I'll also bring you the cards where have the QR codes and other ways that you can make your donation. And that QR code will take you directly to the March for Meals promotion.
And then for people that want to be vendors at the housing fair, they should go to the website, or is that to get to the AFTA ticketing?
Right, or it is made public on Afton ticketing. You can go through there, or you can send me an email.
If I'm telling someone walking down the street though, where do I tell them to go? I don't want to say www.aftertickets. Can I just say Milwaukie, the foundation website? Or-
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm not trying to be.
No, that's okay. No, that's I appreciate
Something
that.
easy that's actually.
Yeah.
And that's on the 28th.
The 28th of March.
And it's not sold out. But it's only
No,
close.
no, it only sold 11 of 48 so far. So,
Starts at 10 in the morning? or is it-
starts at 9:30, doors, we're actually gonna let people come in and start setting up at 8:30. And then we actually launch at 9:30, we go 9:30 to noon. Pretty exciting. We also have, second night of bingo starting in April. I think we're gonna go Tuesday nights, except for the 4th Tuesday, is that correct? Except for the 4th Tuesday, so first, second, third Tuesdays, and if there happens to be a 5th Tuesday, we'll take it too. But we're gonna start doing bingo, the second night. All of that going on, we have also been looking at doing some advertising on the electronic billboards. We're
Thank.
Yeah.
So we have, a proposal that's come back from out front, the people that do the electronic billboards in our area, the digital ones.
Mhm.
And they, we can run up to 3 different images that run for, I think it's 8 seconds every 60 seconds. Right, yeah, 8 seconds.
That doesn't matter. Go on.
It doesn't add up.
It just repeats for that.
It repeats.
Right, it just that you don't end up with a minute that way. It'll probably, it may, and someone, I haven't divided it out to the day.
It's 64.
Yeah.
How are you doing that?
Maybe farther out.
Anyway, and it's, we can run that, we're looking at doing a 6-month campaign. And so we can change those at any time that we want to add different ones, so as we go through our next 6 months, we're gonna be able to move different events going into it. We're looking at bingo, we're looking at March for Meals, we're even looking at the Housing and Senior Services Fair for the first round. We're hoping to launch March 1st.
Can we advertise bingo?
Yes,
And where,
as a charitable organization, we can advertise bingo,
Which is one of the driving forces behind
which
it.
is one of the driving forces.
So what
behind
about the
this.
sign that's on the church ground out here that says bingo? It's a real sad sign. Can we do something with that?
That's getting ready to be changed as well, because that's gonna be changed when it goes to Tuesdays as well, and
Oh, that's
it's
right, okay.
gotta there's a whole upgrades coming for that.
Okay.
The only problem is we can build that, but I don't know how much longer we're gonna be able to keep that one in place, because technically that's not our space anymore.
Is
That
it
is
Bonaventure?
Bonaventure, yes.
So,
That's the next thing, is we're trying to look into some partnership with Bonaventure.
yeah,
Yeah.
And see if, because, I think that our partnership with them is going to be beneficial, win-win for both of us.
a reader board.
Yeah, we were just talking about something, we haven't actually gotten in contact with them, but we're working on that right now.
Great idea, great
Yeah.
timing too, as they're. putting
Yeah.
things
Yes,
around.
I think so.
Awesome.
Virginia?
where are the electronic billboards gonna be placed?
So they have one right up on 212, right across from, but just past Lowe's right there. I mean, on 224, the expressway. They have 2 down here on McLaughlin after just the expressway comes together. There's 2 down there. There's one over on 212, just on the other side of 82nd Drive. And then there's one on 205. We have 5 or 6 of them that we're gonna be working with that are all in our area.
And they're spread out
So
throughout.
you would be
our
able to
district.
market on all of those?
All of those. So
All
when
many or all?
all of them. And so that's, as we say that there's going to be this much time, 8 seconds for every 60 or whatever it is that Ben figures out it's supposed to be. When we figure, when we say that it's gonna show, that's on all of those boards, not just on one of them or here and there. It's on all 6 of those boards
That's awesome.
for 6 months. Now get this, because I don't mind sharing numbers with you, for $1,500 a month.
It's great.
That is really
So
great.
We just need to
Yeah.
get more rentals so we can.
So are we gonna do some, I understand promoting events, and I think that's really important. But are we gonna do one that advertises that we are the Milwaukie Community Center?
I think that's,
Because we need to educate the people that we serve, all ages, all colors, all blah, blah, blah. And I drafted up something a while back that said, discover us, discover yourself. Milwaukie Community Center, and it shows people of different ages and all doing.
will you share that with me?
I just did.
No, I mean, you said you drafted something though.
I did. I just,
Do you have
scribbled it out.
Oh,
No, I
you
mean,
don't,
I'm just saying, discover us, discover yourself,
gotcha.
because there's something for everybody.
You drafted a slogan.
Short, sweet,
I
yeah,
gotcha.
done.
All right, I understand.
Ben has a comment.
Oh, it's, my
Question.
notes from your meeting, the last, foundation meeting, it was, 6 seconds every 60.
6 seconds, not 8.
6 seconds every 60, that gets you, I figured it out, it's like 1,350 times per day.
Right.
Whoa. Kind of like,
Oh, and but you put that, you know, 3 in the morning.
well, of course, when nobody's
Instead of
there to
saying-
see it,
MCCF.
but that's awesome.
So,
Go
I
ahead.
don't know where that lost.
MCCF.
so kind of along that lines, maybe you guys were just discussing, I couldn't hear, but the promotion, obviously you're doing events and I'm sure there's gonna be cool graphics or pictures. Of
Right.
your new office, whatever, you know what I mean? Is it primarily going to be saying Milwaukie Community Center, an NCPRD facility kind of thing, or is it gonna be more promoting the foundation? You know what I mean?
Well,
Because I think
we have an
brand
agreement, right,
recognition.
because we have a memorandum of agreement that makes us a partnership. I'm sure that
Right.
there's going to be a crossover of both of those things.
Okay. Cause it just seems like the idea would be to direct people to
Right,
the center.
Yes.
right, but like March for Meals, we don't
Right.
really, that's gonna
Totally.
be a little more
Understood.
foundation driven, because that's where all of those.
Absolutely, yeah, I just wanted to make sure there was.
We're not just trying to do the foundation. The whole purpose of the foundation is to,
The foundation
is the
is
center. The center is
Perfect.
the purpose for the foundation, so we're not
Yeah.
trying. to-
However, this is important because I'm a development person. The foundation is not, it's confusing to people because there should be like a byline that says the Milwaukie Community Foundation, the fundraising arm of the Milwaukie Community Center. Because that's your purpose, is to fund for this program. People are not funding for your foundation, they're funding for the Milwaukie Center through the foundation.
Correct.
So by putting out some things from the foundation and some things from the community center, it's confusing to people because they don't understand it. So, and we need to clarify that a little bit and
That's
make
really
sure that
important.
they understand that their money may be going to the foundation, but it's really going to the center. Because that's what this whole thing is about. It's about the center. And how it gets there is just extraneous information. So when you promote the foundation, it's like, well, what's this? I thought we were, talking about the community center. So we need to be very clear about that and not promote the foundation, but promote the center.
Well, and some of that has, I think that making the name, the Milwaukie Community Center Foundation,
Yeah,
does some of that. It's clear that that's what the foundation is for, is the Milwaukie Community Center. Just in the
it
name.
is. Yeah, I understand that, but I'm just saying, if we promote the foundation, it feels like we're promoting the foundation and not the Milwaukie.
So I
Community
don't think we're trying to promote the foundation. We're trying to promote the events or the things that are going on.
Okay, but when stuff comes out, it should not have like the logo for the foundation. It should have the logo and the stuff for the center. For the center.
So it's a branding issue, I think.
So,
Brand the center.
Trust me on this because I've been there and I know how this goes. So we have to be very careful about that because it's confusing. I get things that have the little, foundation logo thing on that whirly deal. And then you get other stuff from the center and it's sort of like there's confusion there. So people need to, we don't want to advertise the foundation per se.
So co-branded with both logos. And that's what you're saying, Marilyn?
no, she's saying don't advertise the foundation at all, but what I hear you saying, it's, if you're not advertising the foundation, then you're not showing people the avenue to do the donation.
Have a tax write.
No, you
Right,
are, because when you put the thing, make your check in order and payable to the Milwaukie Community Foundation, that's fun. But somewhere on there, it needs to say the Milwaukie Community Foundation is the fundraising arm for the Milwaukie Community Center. So they understand the connection, so they know that when they write the check to the foundation, it's going to the center. Do you guys get what I'm saying?
Why do I, because I will take Providence Hospital, for example, this Providence Hospital, they've got a foundation, we'll get some mail, and you go in, they'll send you a mail to the hospital. But they tell you what it is.
Yeah,
It is a separate kind. I just happen to know that they're related because I've been in business, I've seen this stuff, I understand your point.
Yeah.
Someone out there doesn't know it. Look at, we all know there's interrelated. but the general public does not always know that.
They don't
the Milwaukie
understand it,
Community Center Foundation, Milwaukie Community Center, really technically intertwined, but the public doesn't always know that.
No.
I understand that. So to Marilyn's point, there needs to be, whether it's co-branded, on the ad, local logos, or, you know, I understand what she's saying. I think there's a way to accomplish both, because you've got your marching orders from your board. I get that. That's also an important way.
Right.
We need to raise money, but I think we need to have maybe just somewhere, because no one's gonna read all the verbiage. Of course, you can include all the verbiage in the bottom small print. Nobody will read it, but I think that both logos on there might be helpful. Supporting
Well, I think
supporting the activities of Milwaukie Community Center.
Right.
Could be just a small little phrase like that.
Well, and I think most of our stuff already has
Maybe
that.
it has it. I don't know.
Right,
I don't know.
and so the only thing that I see is that the confusion comes where it's not just the Milwaukie Community Center, because the logo for the Milwaukie Community Center is North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District, which North Clackamas Park and Recreation District is much larger than just the Milwaukie Community Center. And so I think that the confusion comes when people go, well, North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District, I already give my tax money to that.
Right.
Right? Whereas if we were able to make it very specifically just the Milwaukie Community Center, I think that people would be able to see that differently. So I think that most of our stuff, I think pretty much all of our stuff where we're promoting events, all say that that's exactly what we do. We are supported by this is supported by the Milwaukie Community Center Foundation, but it has even our even this is it says North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District, Milwaukie Center, you know, Community Connection. It's supported by the Milwaukie Community Center Foundation. But I think that's a really good point to ensure that as we do this, that
Well,
it's
because we're in the business, so we get it. I mean, we get it,
right.
but those people out there don't get it. You know, most of them, some of them probably do, but most of them don't. And so when they're getting things from the foundation and they're getting things from the center or from North Clackamas, it gets a little bit muddled out there. So I think that when we get things sent out from the foundation, if there was just a little sentence up there that's like by your logo or whatever that says the Milwaukie Community Foundation is this fundraising arm for the Milwaukie Community Center. That explains it. And so they know they're getting it from you, but your job is to raise money for the center. That's your sole purpose.
Does
You
that
see
help
what I
understand?
mean?
It does. I'm trying to imagine the things in which that will be applicable, but I agree with you. I'm just trying to imagine, okay,
Yeah.
well, what,
Maybe there are.
Well, it's kind of
you're
like,
talking about the things that come out from
well, it's like
our,
the annual appeal, for example.
okay,
You send the annual appeal out from the foundation, which is correct. But we need to, we're not fundraising the foundation, we're fundraising the center.
right.
You're the
So
vehicle
nothing
by
I
which
said
it
in that
happens.
letter had anything to do with the foundation. It all had to do with what the center's doing.
Okay, and so at the top, it should say the Milwaukie Community Foundation is the fundraising arm for the Milwaukie Community, for the Milwaukie Center.
Letterhead. I don't see a problem with that.
I
got what
I
you're
just
saying.
want us to clarify that they
That would be up to your guys.
understand.
On the letterhead or in the footer or wherever it says our
Yeah, or
Or-
even just under the
You
thing.
do have a comment?
Yep.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I want to try to keep us cognizant of the time. It was great discussion, good discussion, because I know that's been a discussion item and an issue for a long time. Virginia, and then we'll carry on with the rest of the agenda.
Since this is something new, is there any thought to how you're going to evaluate its effectiveness?
We've talked about that, and initially the only way for us to do it is simply polling, right? But the people that are responding, how do they find out about us? Because they don't, you know, they're not gonna be able to click a link. right? We're not gonna be able to tell that way. And so initially it was just clearly by just asking people, how did you find out about it? And a lot of those things, if we're selling tickets or we're doing something in that way, we can, Afton allows me to ask those questions, I can capture it that way. But some of it has to be just either some kind of questionnaire when people are coming, or even having just somebody asking them and saying, hey, somebody there taking a poll. Can I ask you how you heard about us? Right? But then initially, that's the only way we're gonna really be able to see that and just the increased traffic on the things that we're doing. It's like, we started doing this and all of a sudden we have a whole lot more, right?
That's what I was.
Right.
And when is this gonna happen, the billboards?
Well, we're hoping to launch March 1st.
That is so exciting.
Yes.
Apparently, we're talking billboards before you.
I
have
know.
a job, by the way.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm glad that we.
For at least a year and a half.
Oh, I'm so excited about it.
Great lines, right?
Yeah.
And I have friends that have been using it for their business and they have seen an increase, so.
Well, I'm excited about it.
It's great.
The constant battle for awareness of what we're doing.
Yeah.
Especially where we're at here.
Because not all people are getting mailings or other things, and this way it's like, wow, what's that? You know, I love it.
Yeah, and the electric billboards definitely get your attention.
Yeah, they
You're gonna have to have them for sure.
And
More than
hold
the-
your phone while you're driving and take pictures.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, don't be doing that. I don't wanna do that.
Put the QR
Very
code
so.
on the board.
Was there anything else in your report, Ken, so we can move on to the other 4 or 5?
I don't know if it matters, we're looking into a new bookkeeping service. That's,
Okay.
we're finding the one that we have is running really expensive and,
The rates went up.
looking at their rates went up, but they also, I think that they're doing a lot more. It's like, is this bookkeeping service supposed to be representing us in tax if we were audited? I don't think that that's part of their contract, but yet they're asking for everything as if they were. And I'm like, look, there's bookkeeping services that can do it for a third of what you're doing it, and they never ask us for, I mean, we keep our own receipts and all they do is run off the bank records and tell us where we're at. And, so we're doing some looking around for that.
That's great.
Yeah, because it's,
Good luck with that.
we want to make sure that the money that is being donated and the money that we are being, you
That
know,
we're
put in
using it
charge, that we're
wisely, yeah.
using wisely.
Yeah, it's awesome. Good job, Stan.
Joe, the district advisory committee?
We haven't met since, Mark's last report. We're meeting next week. Actually got a date with Mark for Valentine's Day.
Did Virginia
for
not
that
have
meeting.
any?
So, I'm sorry.
Did Virginia not have any?
That's just the next.
Virginia, the Aging
Because he's
Services
talking to-
Advisory Committee, the council.
Yeah, I just was waiting for your report and I thought we were going on and forgetting you.
Well, we met January 22nd, and it was primarily around emergency planning. I had Rochelle make the brochure that they're gonna be giving out to everybody. This isn't in the lovely colors that the brochure comes in. This is kind of plain. But in order to come up with this, they sent out a survey. Everybody does these surveys. And they collected 427, which represented 0.5% of the older adult population in Clackamas County. And the key findings from the survey that just a little over half had signed up for emergency alerts. And that's not good, because those emergency alerts can be real helpful. If you look at what happened on Maui, that was part of their critique was the emergency alerts just didn't get to people in time. Just under 50% want emergency preparedness information emailed to them. And the second wanted to come through snail mail. Emergency plan, those who have a plan, 10% more likely to live in a rural area, 40% more likely to have a 3-day supply of water, 244% more likely to have a 3-day supply of food, 15% more likely to have a 3-day supply of medications, twice as likely to have a plan for what to do if the power was off for extended period, 10% more likely to have a reliable transportation plan. Better vulnerability factors. Adults 85 years and older were more likely to live alone. Those living alone are more likely to be white, English speaking, have a disability, live in poverty, and lack of reliable transportation. So the recommendations that came from the survey: communicate the importance of an emergency plan, promote simple and effective templates for older adult use, communicate the ways in which older adults can bolster their provisions of potable water for emergency use. The questions gauging 3-day supply, people were least prepared with the potable water. Communicate the importance of signing up for emergency alerts. Nearly 40% of respondents noted that they are not signed up. Further engagement with diverse communities. Communicate methods, email, mail, in-person events in connection with other events they are attending. And that's the whole purpose of this. So that's kind of what, we're going to be distributing this sort of thing. The other part was Brenda Durbin, the head of this committee. She reminded us that the state legislature is now in session. They have their short session, and that we can't represent the board unless we get approval from her. And she said that we're not going to go down and lobby like we usually do, because she doesn't feel like there's really anything there that speaks to senior issues. So I was a little disappointed because I used to, we used to go down like on Valentine's Day and talk to our representatives, but I guess we're not doing it. And our next meeting in March is finally going to be a hybrid meeting, but they just let us know. And I've got a doctor's appointment in Milwaukie, so I can't be in Oregon City. So I'm gonna still have to do it online, but in April, I'll definitely be in Oregon City, because I really think that's a better way. I mean, there's people on the council now that I don't know. I mean, you just don't necessarily get to know people over Zoom.
So this flyer is being designed for next year.
I think they're giving it out now.
It's kind of a plate for preparing this for.
I still.
I hope so.
The jury's not over.
So. I got a question. So is there, this is for Clackamas County, and
Right.
clearly, we're talking about North Clackamas County, but wouldn't there be some kind of connection for those people to the center in this? I was
Yeah.
trying to see it, and there should be, right?
Oh, yeah, because they are the ones who ultimately make.
But I don't see anything in this one about that. I don't know if that's
About,
about Milwaukie
Services.
Community Center, services offered.
oh, right.
You know, I mean,
Because we're not officially, yeah, the Milwaukee Community Center is not an official emergency site, from what I understand, Marty, and you might know. So
We're not a
like
warming shelter.
Shelter and a cooling shelter, so
We are.
We are not.
we're not like an official one, no.
No,
Only
during
during
operating
operating hours.
Oh,
yes.
gotcha.
So we're an additional service, but we're not an official.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just saying on the back of that, in light of, the last event and whatnot, has there been any discussion, Marty, with the BCC or NCPRD board of directors, whatever, about potentially doing something like that for the Milwaukie?
look, the problem is, there's a couple problems. One is we do rentals, so if you're renting the big room, right, and it was cold or really cold and you're a warming shelter, then all of a sudden you have maybe
That's,
people here. It'd be a problem.
that makes more sense. I just know there's, obviously Clackamas County has one. And it's not enough.
Yeah.
So I was just, it seemed like an ideal place, community center feeds.
Now,
on the
if it
idea
is a
of-
Red Cross facility, if there's a like large disaster, then we can utilize this facility, because we're not gonna be doing our normal programming. If there's a,
But for heating.
but for heating and cooling, we're not a
makes
good,
sense.
and we're, honestly, we're in a very bad location for it also, which is kind of an excuse, but there's no public transportation. We're off the beaten path, which is good for certain other reasons, but bad for that.
That makes
When
sense.
when it is super hot out, we don't really get extra people coming. There might be a couple, but coming specifically for the cooling effect or the warming effect. During the days, it's just not really a practical thing that happens.
I was really proud of Clackamas County because we kept our shelter at the community college open when Multnomah County shut down everything. And Brenda was very involved in keeping that center going. And Father Hart, that center did a tremendous job.
Yes.
I know it's out in Oregon City, but they had transportation getting people out there.
We had several staff members that volunteered and they got picked up by search and rescue and then taken up the hill to Oregon City to be able to work there.
They did a tremendous
Yeah, they did.
job.
Yeah.
With Multnomah County totally, they totally failed.
They believe the weather forecast.
Yeah. And we did have a discussion about what people had gone through during the ice storm. We kind of got off our agenda. And because a lot of our members are in rural areas, I mean, trying to take care of their livestock. And like I ran out of medications. I mean, there were all sorts of things that were brought up. Not that I mean, it's just to try to get people more aware if this happens again. So.
All right, thank you. Good discussions, always. Recreation and program.
Okay, I'll go, yeah, so.
Yeah, whomever.
So I think we mentioned we had quite a few new we introduced a lot of new classes in winter. And we, now winter registration is almost, I mean, it's pretty much, no one's joining new classes. We looked at the data and we're up 36% in registrations from last year.
Nice.
So that was we're very excited about that. We've also added a new class for spring and spring registration. That new class is Hatha Yoga. Spring registration opened on February 6th, so just about a week ago at noon to NCPRD residents. We already got about 313 people registered for classes. So it'll open up to non-residents on noon next Thursday, February 13th. Or is that Thursday? Next Tuesday, sorry.
That's really great.
Yeah, so we're seeing
Great.
360?
313 for spring. And we ended somewhere over 700 for winter, which was about 36% increase.
With that 36% bump in winter, you didn't have to.
We
Classes
added,
could handle it, or you had to add classes, or?
we did add 6 new classes. So we added a youth karate, a beginning watercolor, mixed media art, mindful meditation, easy desert aerobics, and computer basics. But we noticed that a lot of our typical fitness classes were, you might expect maybe 13, we were somewhere around 18. So we did see an increase.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Inclement weather was a challenge, as it was for everybody. Between January 16th and 18th, we canceled 32 recreation classes. So that tells you in that 3-day period how many classes were affected. But staff were amazing, and they worked very diligently to provide makeup options. So we only 50% of those classes were actually canceled. We have makeup options for the other half. And that was a little bit of a struggle for instructor availability and also room availability, but they did an amazing job. So kudos to them. Our My Little Valentine's Day dance is tomorrow. And we have 75 people registered so far. That's very similar attendance to last year. And then Lunar New Year, again, Oregon Live put that up. And so it has been advertised, and we have over 800 people that are interested in the event on Facebook. So we anticipate it's going to be very similar to last year, and we're going to have a strong crowd. So we have expanded the event. It's not just in the main room. It's going to take over almost the entire center. And we'll actually have TVs, just like this one, in the canvas room, showcasing these performances that are happening in the main room. So people can kind of keep moving and there's overflow. So we're not trying to fit all into one room. We have to be cautious of the fire codes and everything. So that's why we're also not doing additional parking. I know parking was a challenge last year, but because of the fire codes, we can't do off-site parking and bus people in to make it easier, even though we want to. It's just because we can't get that many people in the room. Yeah. So we're cautious of that.
Over capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah. No kidding. That's awesome.
And the system plan, we do have there will be a system plan booth at the event too. We have an NCPRD Stay Connected, but they are going to do a system plan booth in addition to our Stay Connection booth to really start talking to people about the system. So they'll be giving out tangerines.
Thank you. Lots of good things happening. Good things going on. Dan, how about facility and rental committee?
Well, we meet quarterly, and our January meeting was people were ill. So, we haven't met.
So
So
we,
we
April,
meeting in April, unless something else happens. I mean, mostly it was Barbara getting bids for the walls for next fiscal year.
okay. All right. Well, we'll just keep it on the agenda, and
Yep.
when there's a meeting, we'll make sure we hear from them. Okay, great. Marty.
Sure. So I will start with some facility updates or news. We are right now in the process of, well, we've gotten, bids, and we are working on remodeling the library. So not the main room, which is down the line, but have been doing over the years, we're working on sort of updating room by room. So we did the artisan gifts last year, and we updated the halls with color, paint, changing the paint. And now we're gonna work on art on the walls, and also the library is getting new paint, including on the shelves, redoing the shelves so they're not all beat and worn, and the fireplace, and then we're getting new furniture, getting rid of the computer station. We're gonna have a computer you can check out at the front desk. So get rid of that clutter, and it's just gonna be a lot nicer space. It's being designed specifically for the APAC place at the center respite in mind, and a new early memory loss program we're starting in the summer. But it's also just gonna be, I think it's gonna be a lot nicer public space for people to go in and, spend time talking to somebody or just having some time by themselves. It's still gonna be a library, so it's still gonna be the self-check library. I'm really excited to get that going. And then next spring is the current pool room is getting changed into a room that we can program. So all this programming Sarah talks about takes space. So we're trying to come up with another space. Hopefully next spring will also be Concord as well. So there'll be a lot more opportunities for programming and stuff. So excited about all that. And then once we're done with those spaces, and we will look at trying to update the main. I think that will take a grant, because if changing a ceiling like that, I imagine to be very expensive. But I do think it's a good idea, and I think it would not only serve us from a rental aspect, but just from a, the people that come here, whenever you're in a nicer space, you feel more valued and like it's a better place to be. So that's important too. So any questions about any of that? Our fun in the ice storm. So of course our main challenge is our Meals on Wheels program. So I was very proud of our staff and NCPRD in general. So we had purchased shelf stable meals, which arrived just before the storm. And we did miss delivery on, it would have been Tuesday and Wednesday, because the county was closed. If the county is closed, the employees are supposed to not come in, they're supposed to stay home. But on Wednesday, we were able to, Thursday and Friday, we were able to send out a combination of the shelf stable meals as well as frozen meals for folks. So we ended up serving out like 800 meals through those days. Yeah, it was a lot. And sort of just going out to visit people was really nice, because a lot of those folks hadn't seen anybody in 2 or 3 days, so 4 days. So yeah, so it was really neat. Different NCPRD employees showed up in their trucks, so that some aquatic park folks and some of the parks maintenance guys in their trucks, and helped some of the normal people deliver the meals. So it was really nice, and we're going to do the shelf stable again next year and try to get them out earlier, so they can have them, in case of an event like this. So, really an interesting week and a half, as you all remember. Other than that, right now we do have the ARP tax program. It's full. They're not, waiting list is full. Everything's full. So I think record timing, like 8 days. Yeah.
Wow.
So they're in there doing that a couple days a week now. And I just want to let everybody know that the volunteer recognition is April 6th. Brunch. I really hope everybody can make it. It's going to be really cool. We're working on planning out a pretty neat event, I think. Pretty happy about what we're trying to do. So it's only fun if you all come. So please do come. I'll remind you again next month, but you can start. We'll find RSVP system in place. Any questions for me? Oh, so yeah, so you all are volunteers. So I don't know, has Joseph been in touch with you about background checks?
I don't recall anything.
No.
Yeah, recently.
So you've got it. You've had it. So everybody needs to do a background check. Yeah, she gets 2. What's that? Every 3 years.
If you've done it before,
I wasn't
they
glad you-
have to do them every 3 years. And so if you've already done one, that doesn't mean that you don't need to do one again, because that's their criteria.
So will this just,
There's a rule.
yeah, how do we, how does that?
It's a different program, because we do ours through Orchards. It's specifically for child and elder abuse, that they're looking for specific things because of the population that we deal with.
Right.
I know this because that's where I used to do it. Right. But it's it's something that has to be happen technically at a certain amount of time. If you don't do it, then you're asked not to come back and volunteer, and we don't want to do that. So I know that it's a pain, but poor Joseph has gotten stuck with the, with the burden of making sure that everybody's recertified on a regular basis, and so, if you haven't done it, or if you haven't heard from him, reach out to him so that we can make sure we get it taken care of,
Well, I got this email
right?
and I didn't recognize what it was. And I thought it was a scam
Oh,
and I deleted it.
that happens often.
And so, I mean, I just didn't
Right, so
recognize.
you got one.
Yeah.
So the email
But
that
some of the
she's
rest of us
discussing, but the
didn't.
email she's discussing is the one after she filled out the paperwork.
Mhm.
Then Orchard sends you an email, because we don't actually ask you for any information.
Right.
That comes through an email, and so that's the email that she deleted because it looked like a scam, she thought, but it's actually, it says it's from orchardvcu.or or
I
something.
didn't know what that
Yeah.
was.
But there was an email before that
There's an email telling people that we're trying to
I don't think
complete those.
I know I didn't.
But
get
if
one. I
you're,
don't
if you're
remember.
not signed up in the volunteer system, which
But I thought
everybody
we
should be,
You say it's every 3 years.
it is every 3
Does
years.
the
Yeah.
email or does the letter that they're getting beforehand say anything about orchards? Cause maybe we need to say they're gonna be receiving an email from.
In fact, the template that he has actually sends and says, after you've completed that piece of paperwork, he sends out an email that says, be looking for an email
Okay.
from. And so that's so that you,
Yeah.
and check your spam, because if it's not something you regularly get, a lot of email clients will just stick them in your spam folder.
Okay, so it appears that at least several of us on this board didn't receive anything yet. Could that be resent by Joseph?
Yes,
Joseph's great.
yes.
Yeah,
We'll send it to the board.
can that,
But
yeah,
the thing is, you have to be on the volunteer website in order to get in the loop for getting this stuff, is that right?
For getting it regularly, and we're asking everybody to, because. For instance, the hour that you spend, the hour and a half that you spend here, we want to record those volunteer hours. And if you're not in that system, it's hard for us to follow through with that process. But if you're in the system and we already show that this meeting happens, it'll automatically keep those hours for you, and we don't have to jump through a bunch of processes. So it's,
and I recall this in my brain that I signed up as a volunteer, and I do get like notices saying, hey, we need volunteers for
Okay.
bingo and that. So does that mean I am
Yes.
Yes.
signed up? Okay,
and.
but I
and
didn't get anything about this background check.
Well, we'll make sure that that comes out.
Thank
The other part I want to let you know is if you are signed up in that system, that's a better impact system is what they call it. And so we have volunteer impact, and we also use donor impact. And you can make your donations with your same sign in. Because you can choose to go into the foundation and do a donation through that same sign in. You don't have to have separate accounts, because we use one system for that. And so if you want to give online, it allows for you to do that. If you want to give regularly, it allows for you to do that. But again, that's the same system, that's the same sign up that you would use for your volunteer as well. So it's integrated together.
Good, okay, thank you.
Sorry to take.
No, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, anything else that you're reporting on, Marty? Is that?
No, that's good for me. If anybody has any questions.
We're also putting 2 new TVs on the front of up by the stage. We initially had big ones that were donated by a church, and then during the pandemic, they went away. We purchased 2 new 65-inch that go on each side of the stage. And then the larger ones that are on the stage now are gonna go back into the rhododendron. So there's.
Bingo in mind. So-
Bingo,
so-
but not just bingo, because it can be, I mean, we're gonna set them up so they can be used by rentals, they can be used, I mean, it would be usable by anyone. It's for the whole, yes, bingo, we wanna have them there for bingo, but that's not just for bingo.
Did the camera get put?
No, we're waiting on that still.
Oh,
The electricians came out and they wired it, so it's happening. But the county people got sort of delayed by the courthouse. Or privatized the rest,
Okay, thank you. This is a time on the agenda to call for public comment. I do not see or hear of anybody that has any public comment, so thank you very much for that. Any comments from members on anything else or anything we need to know or need to do? We're still looking for a couple of new members of the board, so be sure you're telling people about it, giving them the opportunity to let them know what's going on.
So is the foundation. We're looking for new board
Okay.
members as well. And so
Okay.
Is that one of the pages, ad pages on the?
it is going to be.
Oh, that was the last discussion.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that we needed to have that in there
Right.
all the time. I did mention it to somebody the other day and told her to go on the NCPRD website. And I told her I knew the application wasn't up all the time, but if it wasn't, that for her to let me know and I'd make sure she got one. So I haven't heard anything from her, so I don't know if we checked on it or whatever. Okay, all right.
Another way to have people sign up to do that is to be going to the sign up as a volunteer. And then choose boards and committees as one of your
And one of
interests.
those, right.
And then that way they're integrated into the process. They're gonna be given the background check and can be sent right into this. I mean, that's the way we're trying to go with that.
Okay. All right, good. With nothing else, I would ask for a motion to adjourn. Or we stay here.
Any more comments?
Thank you, Virginia. You second. Ready for moved and seconded to adjourn.
Where's the
Hearing that,
hammer?
we're done, we're done. Ben, you-
See you, Mark.
Oh, right now.
Good job, good job.
How did you get?
No.
I don't know, they contacted me and said,
Just yesterday? Oh,
so I'm like, okay, I don't know who approved it, but I'm going with it.
go with it. All right, that worked well.